My name is Max and I work for PugetSoundoff.org. I wanted to talk to you all today because it is Transgender Day of Remembrance. It's an annual day to remember the lives of those who have been lost to anti-transgender violence. In 2015 so far, we have lost 21 people to anti-transgender violence. This day started back in 1998 in remembrance of the death of Rita Hester, who was a black trans woman who was killed. The annual day was founded by Gwendolyn Ann Smith, who was a transgender activist, and I'm going to read you what she says about Trans Day of Remembrance. The Transgender Day of Remembrance seeks to highlight the losses we face due to anti-transgender bigotry and violence. I am no stranger to the need to fight for our rights, and the right to simply exist is first and foremost. With so many seeking to erase transgender people, sometimes in the most brutal ways possible, it is vitally important that those we lose are remembered and that we continue to fight for justice. I want to share a little bit of my story with you all. Some of you might not even know that I identify as transgender, and I want to share that part of my life because it's important in the work that we do. The youth we work with every day are, facing these same questions of gender and identity. I want to preface and say that I am trans and I face oppression because of that. But I'm white, I'm educated, middle class, I've got a house, I've got friends that love me, I have a job, I'm transitioning, I have health insurance. Those are huge privileges that I have. So I want to share my story with you and hope that you take away from this that this is just one experience. It's my experience. It is not the trans narrative. It's not what every person who identifies as transgender faces. And it might get you to reflect a little bit about the work that we do, the young people we serve, and how these things might be impacting them when they have all these other barriers on them, as well as this. For me, I wasn't always this lucky. I went to Catholic school my whole life and at a very early age knew that I was attracted to women, but I didn't know what that meant. I had all these questions and I didn't have anywhere to go, but I saw that it was a bad thing. I had people at school telling me, well, gay people go to hell. This is a life of a sinner. But I knew, and I tried to hide it. I tried to play straight. I made up crushes on boys so that people wouldn't think I was different. Gender wasn't even up for discussion. Boys sat on one side of the gym and girls on the other. Girls wore a skirt, boys wore pants. I was terrified of being found out, and that fear really led me down some really dangerous behaviors. I was self-harming, severely depressed, constantly anxious that people were going to find out what I was. And, at 14 started drinking to cope. And, drinking let me come out to people. And then it wasn't so scary. I went to college and drinking was a culture and it became a way for me to hide my pain. And I found people in college that supported me. I was a gender studies student, so I was studying trans folks. I had a lot of trans friends who were really open about their experiences, and I knew the terms, I came to learn all the terms, and I had this moment of, I can't do this. This can't be me. This is hard. This is too hard. And the self-harming continued. The severe depression and anxiety compounded with trauma and alcohol abuse. And 10 days after I graduated college, I was hospitalized for a suicide attempt for the third time between April and May. Something happened in there. It forced me to face the elephant. It forced me to look at myself in the mirror and say, come on, I'm here too. Give me a name. We watched a TED Talk on vulnerability by Brene Brown, who is a social worker. Just happen to have her book here. I highly recommend it. But she talks about daring greatly and entering the arena and letting yourself be seen, and the importance of authenticity to connection. And I realized I haven't been connecting with anyone because I've been living a lie. You can't connect when someone says she and her and you flinch. You can't respond to a name that doesn't feel like your own. So we watched Brené's TED Talk, and I went and I just looked at in the mirror at myself for a while and said, hey, Max is in there, and it's time. So I came out to friends first, but 2 months later I moved to Seattle. I told everyone I had a job. I didn't. But I had to get out of Virginia, and Seattle was the lighthouse that I had to get to. So I found a crappy apartment, and I got a job with AmeriCorps at YTech, but I was not out as Max yet. I was going by my legal name, and I was afraid. If I'm this, I can't get housing. What if I can't get a job? What if people hate me because of who I am? So I continued to live the lie even after I'd come out. And about halfway into my AmeriCorps term, I was so anxious, spiraling into this pattern of bad behavior, and so I had to face it again. And I came out and said, I'd like to be called Max. Can you use these pronouns for me? And thank God people were supportive. The Y was supportive. Have been Max ever since. And it's let me do my work. It's let me be present and be there for young people, and it's led me down this path that I want to keep doing this work and talking about these things and educating people and learning myself. It's been hard. It's hard every day. My family doesn't understand, so I'm not really in communication with them. But I have a life out here. I have a job. I have a house. Like I said, I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones. It's not often that I feel like my life is in danger because of who I am or who I love. It's been hard for me, and all I can take away from this, and all I hope that you take away from this, is that it's hard for our young people and the people that we serve. They might be dealing with these issues of identity and all the anxiety and depression and fear and self-doubt that comes with it. And on top of that are facing these other huge barriers. We have to be in their corner. We might be the first person that they're telling that they want to use he and him pronouns or they them pronouns. There's a humongous trust in us as providers. We cannot have a place of judgment for these people that come to us to take care of them and help them. We have to respect it, whoever they are, when they come through our door. We have to respect that identity of theirs. Whether it's asking pronouns, taking the LGBTQ engagement training, talking about this, talking about the levels of oppression that we face as staff, but that our young people face. And my hope in sharing this video is that you've humanized the issue a little bit more. It's not just a slideshow or a TV character. These are people that we work with every day. We have to know how we can be the best allies to them, so that next year there aren't 21 more names on that list. We can change that.